Hello and welcome to the Eastern final. Here with me is Yazuru and me, Bruder Ritter, being the co-cast today for you, casting this from me from Germany. Yazuru, where you are situated right now?
I'm in the United States.
Perfectly. So we have all the West here, Germany and the United States. There is no other countries in between for sure. Therefore, we're gonna cast the final match between PAE and CT today and be here for you to guide you through this match and maybe make some shitty calls which will not happen in the future, and therefore just yapping about something this will never happen. We can immediately jump into pick and ban and maybe give some callouts already. Therefore, PAE banned Walford and CT just banned Heilung Fjord. Picks are Dazu Fort and Harbor City. Will you run us through the unit pick and bans, Yazuro?
Yeah, so PAE banning Spartan Chosen, Harang, and Zakilian Militia, all very solid bans here. All three of those units have been pretty prevalent throughout this tournament, have been pretty strong. Meanwhile, ZT banned Siphonaris, Flames, Somewhat Phalanx, and Dagger Axe, also very strong bans in here, saving Falconetti Gunners. So it's safe to say they're probably going to try to do some kind of wall hold somewhere. I don't usually see Falconetti Gunners being used almost anywhere else besides like wall holds right now. A lot of teams prioritize the cannon unit or Lion's Roar a lot more in like a specialty aspect for killing units, and some teams like using them for uh, tower denial as well, since they do an insane amount of damage towards the towers. So I'm thinking we're gonna have some pretty heavy duty tower denial on both of these maps.
Yeah, for sure. Dazu Fort and Harbor City, both maps are really, you really need to push the turrets in. On Harbor City, you can also flank through Small Gate, but like in general, you need to get at least one or two towers in to push effectively both maps, and therefore we're gonna see, I guess, a lot of Falconettis also being used. Sometimes we see some teams saving their unit, but then not really bringing them to the battlefield, which is like kinda odd. But also, like, sometimes maybe they're just trying to bait the enemy in or just giving themselves the opportunity to use them if needed. So therefore, saves not always are this like first indicator for something to be happening, but for sure a reliable source to guess what will happen in the next matches. I'm really excited to see this happening right now here today, because like it's being already the final for the Eastern region, and therefore we can already see and get a glimpse of what we might be witnessing at our Sunday matches in the West. And so I'm really excited to just see how they play out the new meta, even maybe bringing out a lot of the spear sergeants again for CT. So what is your expectations for today, Yazoo?
Just like you said, the spear sergeants, I'm expecting quite a bit of those up on the wall. A lot of the heavy infantry was not banned either, so you have Reapers, Silidars, those kinds of units. I expect a lot of those units up on the wall as well. There's not a flame unit, so maybe some Shinjis mixed into their comps to fight on the choke points for the towers or the gate on at least Harbor City and Doswell Fort. So I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see what kind of comps they bring into these fights. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just expecting a lot of heavy infantry, and then if a team thinks they're a lot stronger than the other one, we could see a lot of cav because some word phalanx were banned, so we could possibly see a sally. I don't see it very often from the Eastern teams, but it could happen. Um,
Yeah. Like I also expect them to maybe bring again our Rattan Pikemen again. I think they're heavily used in the West. Right now they're being really cheap in leadership and just outdoing so much, because based on them, on their poison, which is like lowering your damage if you're getting poisoned by them, and they're just being a pain in the butt, and therefore often come up and top of the trade value, not even just going with a direct change and like um, in units, but then in the leadership value, basically. Just investing some leadership to get the even value out, or even like in higher value, is often ending you in a good position, because if you just lower the amount of unit models on the other side, being like tier 5 units or tier 4 units, then you go into the fight with your tier 5 units, and then you come up on top based on them being already weakened. And therefore, it's a very reliable strategy, in my opinion. Also, we saw VSS or Vice Sirius and Yeah Buddy using it heavily to just push the walls in the beginning without any hero at all, which is like kind of odd in my opinion. Just letting the units climb the ladder, and therefore just letting them deal a lot of damage and a lot of chaos up there. And also the one round of Vice Sirius against Yeah Buddy, I think Yeah Buddy just climbed and won A based on them going up the ladders, which was like kind of mind blowing for me.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
with the current meta of being able to bring so many units and so many blue units getting a lower leadership during this tournament as well, um, it makes it to where teams can just kind of spam their units in the beginning. And I know it sounds weird for the word spam being in there, but the Eastern teams used to do something like this a while ago in CBL. They used to send gray and green units onto a point to delay time and just dance around with their hero on the point once they got kind of low on units. And the West hasn't really used that kind of strategy. So I think the East are still kind of comfortable in this play style. They just have to adjust to like the current meta of what unit to use for shields and heavy infantry. But yeah, I mean, I think they're already pretty comfortable in this meta. So I think we're going to see some very high quality fights during this, and probably some really good strats, as it should be. You know, they're the finalists of the eastern side of the world.
yeah, that's for sure. I also expect, like, we saw a lot, like last week or even before last week, we saw a shift already with a lot of units being used, but now I feel like it's shifting back to people only using 3 units again, because of the use. If you're using a lot of units, or like 5 sets of units, you need to really pay attention on you not dying that much based on CBL rules. If you die 3 times, you are out for it, and therefore you need to be very aware of your positioning with your hero, therefore and playing with your 5 sets of units. But if the enemy is not giving you the time to play out this 5 unit sets, or even pushing you every time and hunting down your heroes, you maybe be in a situations where you just use 3 sets of units because you died 3 times, or them being so pushy as an attacker that you can't even work with 5 sets of units. And therefore, I kind of see a lot of teams right now pulling back to the 3 unit setup, because before it worked very well, because people still needed time to adapt to the 5 unit setup. But right now, I think a lot of them are already being aware how to counter it and how to play against it, and very pushy about it. And therefore, I don't expect too many teams to bring a lot of 5 unit sets. Sometimes you see like 3 or 4 players with 5 units or 4 units, but in general, the masses of the teams, like CT last time did, just using 3 units again. So do you think they're adapting to it like backwards, or okay, no, we can already see it here. Like I said, and this is like proof to what I said right now. A lot of them just using like 3 sets of units, and okay, it's half half. Okay, not being right totally, but then still. What do you think to the units they're bringing to the battlefield here? Like, what can you read out of it?
So from the attacker side, they're bringing a little bit of everything for the specialty that's left that wasn't banned. They have a unit of Lion's Roar, Falcos, and Shenji. So I think they're going to be trying to play aggressive, possibly use the Falcos in a spot to where they can shoot onto the wall. Because if you cover them up with shields and put them on the hill, they can shoot starting artillery. They can interrupt enemy team's specialty. Meanwhile, on the side of ZT, we have 2 Falconettis. Um, no unit of Lion's Roar, though surprising. Oh, one unit of Lion's Roar, and then they have some green units mixed in, just some green cav some ground shields, and looks like one unit of Rattan pikemen.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is true. A lot of teams are having trouble using all 5 units if they do like double purple and like some blues and greens, like kind of loadout. I think what teams aren't really doing is just sending the unit onto the point and just kind of like using the unit that way. So like Rattan Pikeman, you don't really have to micro that unit. You kind of just charge it in and then it's its own unit. You just leave it be and you go pull another one. I think a lot of teams aren't really doing that kind of thing and like double pulling. And I think that's where the cutoff could be of why a lot of uh these teams are just regressing back because it is a pretty heavily like hero playing meta. Like there's a lot of units you have to micro up close versus just being able to kind of throw it in.
Yeah, and then even like I said before, right now we are facing like better teams and them being way more aware of the disadvantages of the strategy where you just need just being a big word here, just need to focus enemy heroes and put up the pressure immediately while not fighting with low effort. If you're just getting your paladins in and be like, they're gonna make this by default, you don't need to cover them that much or struggle with the Rattans there, you're gonna lose up all you paladins maybe in the end because you didn't pay attention that much. But if you're just pushing them directly and giving them no room to advance with that strategy, then you're gonna face them or not gonna be struggling with them so much. And that is like the counterplay right now I'm seeing, at least from my perspective, where you go for direct impact, direct fights, and then also for punishing the enemy or blocking them on supply without pulling new units. And therefore ending you up with really good trades or even like with very heavy engagements, fast engagements. Right now we're just gonna witness a lot of turrets being destroyed, therefore we can just keep up with our topics, I guess, because it's gonna be at least 2 rounds of them trying to get in their turrets. We already see the normal placement of culverins on the hill on the right side of your screen right now, which is very common, and therefore we will still see the second round of turrets being destroyed for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty solid setup for ZT right now. They also have 5 units of spear sergeants out, I believe. Um, so it kind of makes you wonder, would they have enough DPS in a gate push if they are able to hold PAE outside of the gate or like in the gate if they are forced to do a gate push?
Yeah, normally we see it happening if teams struggling to push for walls, then they're gonna go for the forced gate push in general, which we're already seeing happening here. They're pulling a lot of units in front or to the gateway here, and they're gonna run in the next couple of seconds, not wasting that much time. Like we said before, it's about pressure, it's about timing, it's about pushing you, and they're gonna be inside in a second here. They're gonna face the lion roar inside there, so you need to watch out for this. If the defenders is now going for the push, they're gonna end up getting some units for free, in my opinion. So I don't know why they're not pushing this, but it's maybe just based on them looking somewhere else right now.
Yeah, I think what PAE is doing is they're just trying to pressure down the center towards the gate, getting more of their players focused in one spot, try to loosen up their tower defense on the culverins because I don't think they're destroying enough of the culverins from ZT. They have quite a good spot, few spots across the map that their culverins are just hidden and not really being threatened by anything. So,
There's the
um,
gate push coming. They're now pulling everybody in there and running into it. Therefore, they're gonna run immediately in the cannons. Cannons being placed behind Starwards there. What I said before, heavy good Hussar
mm,
charge. Nah, it's stopping right in front of it. And therefore, they just killing or just killed 2 heroes there. Yan Yudao going through, some spear sergeants going for the flank. We see the big shields. I always call them toilet door shields. Therefore, some Ziladas doing some amazing damage against the Star Wards from the back. It's looking very
I
solid
think
there. Yeah,
I,
good.
I really think the Yandu Dao from PAE did a good job getting in, but they went the wrong way. They went left instead of going right and going for those cannon units. There was no anti-cav whatsoever on that right side, if or the bottom side. So the cannons were able to just kind of free farm during that. Now we do see the heroes from PAE getting up on the wall. They just took out the Falcos as well, but are
I
they going
think
to
that
keep pushing the gate? Because I don't think they're even pushing a tower right now.
no, I think they stopped pushing towers. The one tower is also very low on life right now, and they didn't shot it on their own. So attackers, you often find attackers shooting their own turrets based on them. The middle tower is not gonna get pushed anywhere, so they need to destroy it on their own because defenders are aware. So what they did here was like just pushing in to get some heroes in the back line, and therefore focusing the special units out. I think they were quite effective with it, but the second push was like kind of wasted. But then we look at the unit stats there. CT has a good advantage on like the bottom tier units right now, but the rest is also right now looking pretty fine. But they only have like 4 minutes left. The only tower that's gonna be hitting is the left one. And the defenders now need to immediately place some field cannons or the three artilleries that they have left right now, or they're gonna end up facing them on the wall. But still, if they're just having like 3 minutes on the clock, then it's gonna be a close fight on A. One guy needs to run through for the
Yeah,
supply to block it. Yeah.
let's talk real quick about one of the plays ZT made. It was a short sword player. I think the name was 1213. He jumped off the wall as soon as PAE pushed into the gate and he captured their outside supply. So just denied any chance of them double pulling and getting back into the city or like into the gate to reinforce their push. And there were quite a few heroes from PAE that looked like they might have wanted to do that because when we zoomed back out, there was about 6 heroes trying to kill him on that supply. So really good play by ZT there, capturing the outside supply, not letting PAE get any sort of double pull, um, and just really slowing down the fight to make sure that they could get back onto the wall. But as we are done talking about that, PAE is pushing up one singular tower and trying to get some space onto the wall here. The trap goes out on your right side, which means they're probably going to focus on this left side engagement. And I don't know if that trap was enough. I think it was a little too late. It did zone out quite a bit of units from ZT, so they are getting PAE is getting some space, but they were not able to turn and focus ZT on that opposite side, so now they're just being walloped by a bunch of spear sergeants, Orochi, Siladars. I just don't think this is enough.
PAE making some good ground here. I think they're winning this fight based on the red units being used here. And I think they came out victorious, killing all the heroes here, and therefore they're gonna get A in time. But then, even then, they need to go for C and B immediately based
You
on
got to
the time
remember though,
being.
ZT did not have a lot of heroes that died. They could
Uh,
try to reinforce this here, but it
But
doesn't look like they're going to.
no, they're already retreating. You saw nobody running on top to the back supply there. So everybody on the being on the bottom floor there or running to the C side of the map. There should be no possibility for them or no plan for them or no intention from them to go back for A.
Yep. Now we're seeing about an 80 unit difference for tier 5s in the favor of PAE, and it looks like to be about 100 unit difference in the T4 aspect, and ZT having much more greens than PAE. So honestly, what I'd like to see from ZT here is probably try to use a lot of your greens in this next engagement and go for a double pull and just make it to where your T5s and T4s are at a slight health advantage going into your next fight on B and C.
For sure. But then still the way for the attacker is like really long for resupplying or get new units out. So it's about the defender. It's very defender sided here, going for B. Something like this. We need to look at special units maybe used on both sides to determine who's using what strategy there. They have still 16 artilleries left, so if CT is giving them the room to push inside of this gate hallway here, they're gonna put down a lot of RT to push on B. not seeing a lot of green units already being used there for CT there, so they're just putting up the hold here, or maybe going for a better trade already, maybe looking into losing B and C and therefore going for end cap. A lot of arties being built here for B, so that's
I'm
good at least for this.
hoping ZT doesn't pull the trigger too early, and I think that's what they're doing. I think they're pulling it a little bit too early, pushing into this what I would call a fatal funnel here, because PAE set up so much arty that they can now just shoot for free. The Falcos don't have to move; they get to sit in a safe spot. And then the cannons also from PAE get to sit in a safe spot. So even if PAE loses a lot of frontline units here, they're getting insane value out of their specialty because they just can't be dove.
It's super awkward here to see that they pushed in like this in the direction. They even go one by one, which was like a major problem in my opinion there. Already one guy trying to block the supply there for PAE. They're doing a really good job on this push here right now, but they need to block two supplies, which is almost impossible at this given situation. Therefore, the defender's gonna pull up new units over and over again, and they only have 3 minutes left. So if they don't pull in here right now, they're gonna face a major problem. There's the next calf charge
Huge
incoming.
cav charge killed all
So
of the specialty from PAE.
they're coming in so clutch, and they're now going for the full wipe of the heroes there, and therefore winning them a lot of time here. And PAE is gonna need to like push through immediately after spawning there, based on them only having 2 minutes left. It's really gonna be a tough one there. And now they're already chasing down the attackers.
Yeah,
Maniacs.
ZT playing very smart right here, forcing every hero from PAE into the death screen. I'll backtrack and I'll say I was wrong. ZT engaged with all those green units and it stayed even on that unit trade the entire time, even while having no specialty to fire into that fatal funnel there. So, really good play by ZT. I know they went in kind of one at a time ish, but they had a lot of charging units. So, a lot of green shields, and a lot of other units that could just like charge in. So, hats off to them. They did a good job there, and they made the right plays. They pulled their cav in once their green units and the little bit of purple supporting units were able to kill a lot of the anti-cav from PAE. PAE had one unit of Medal left, and they tried pushing it onto the B point, which then abandoned all of their specialty. So I don't.
Yeah, for sure. They did really good there. A little bit misjudged from our side there for sure. There's a trap coming for the setup of the units there already. Now they're letting them push in or initiate the push from the other side, because based on them having a lot of time and every second here could be leading to a defender's win. Only 1 minute left on the clock to push for this B point here, and if they don't manage it to get a hold of this as an attacking force here, they're gonna end up losing this fight. It's really hard to capture this point here right now based on all the walls all around it, and therefore giving enough spacing to see everything happening. Heroes already running in. It's looking okay for now. It's really looking really good for PAE here. They're jumping already through it, and it's now gonna be 40 seconds of people jumping for the point for sure, with units or even without units, just trying to get a hold on B here. One guy alone on C, he's gonna be blocked.
It looks like they did send one player over to C, so I think this still is a win for ZT. All they have to do is touch for a couple of seconds, and then they're not able to cap.
Yeah, it's looking really good forward. Really good. It's like really close, but then in the end, it's also about them just jumping in for a couple of seconds here. That is looking like in GG already.
Super close first match. Insanely close. This is going to be a intense series.
That's going to be really close. It's looking really tough, and I think like everybody's missing out who's not watching this right now. It's like, whew, getting up to me already with it being so close in the end for B there. Doing really well. So going to the team stats on the left side, we can already see my good old Kevin doing again in the top 5 there. I always call him, he's trying to become my successor. He's trying to become my firstborn, the MVP of his team, but he's always just getting for top 5 here. Kevin having 1 hero kill, 2 2 deaths, 14 assists, 104 unit kills, and a unit score of 790. 650 support points, Kevin. Nice done. My firstborn, PHE, can't read, can't pronounce that name. 3 hero kills, 2 deaths, 17 assists, 95 hero kills. Oh, 95 hero kills would be a much unit kills, but 940 unit score, but 1,750 support points. He would get MVP in every game based on his MVP points. He could have like 10 unit kills. Every time in my rank game, he would become MVP. Second place, Sheng. I don't know how. This is CC Sheng. Maybe CC Sheng. 6 kills, 2 deaths, 15 assists, 114 unit kills, a unit score of 1,045 and 878 support points. Did really, really good. We can go to the other side. Maybe Yazuru, you want to take it from here and talk about CT MVPs?
Yeah, so as we move over to the victors of our first match of the day, I can't pronounce these names either. Sorry about that. But our first place MVP going 4, 2, and 5 with 155 unit kills, over 1,100 troop kill score, and over 700 support points. Something we like to see out of our poleaxes, getting at least a decent amount of support points, killing quite a few shield units from the side of PAE. As we go to the second place MVP, going 3, 3, and 6, 71 unit kills, 671 troop kill score, 872 support points. As we move into the post-battle analysis.
Looking at post-battle analysis, we go for the first fight happening on the left side on the minimap before A, being very equal for both sides, but in the end just a ground win for the attacker. So unit loss is the same on both sides, but the attackers won the ground and therefore the A point. Moving on to the second engagement, which we saw with us talking about a little bit early engaged by CT, but in the end just invested their green units very early to pull up another set of units and therefore killing a lot of the attackers there on the, defenders lost a lot of units there. I need to mix it up
That
in
was
my head
a
again.
tower push. Yeah, the second push was that tower push, which the Treb was a very good Treb on the side of PAE. They engaged. I thought it was a little bit late of a Treb, but obviously it worked out. They were able to stall probably about 4 different shield units from ZT. I mean, really good push by them.
The gate push and the wall push. That's my mistake. You're true. First push was gate push. You're fully right.
Yep. But you just look at the hero kills here, and it's going to tell you a story that the game was super close, which it was. But at the end of the day, PAE still had about 200 units left over, and they just weren't able to get the cap because ZT just denied enough time throughout the match. They used their green units well to give their quality disadvantage going into that B point, because they were pretty much 200 units down on T5 and T4 units, but they were able to keep the unit trade dead even going into that B point, even while using probably, 4 green units, which is insane because they didn't even have specialty during that push. They had Rattan Marksman. That was it.
Yeah, I think in general, really well executed from the side of CT here, really doing a great job in general with managing their troop score and overall investment on every push and every engagement, and then also deciding on retreating after B on A, and then making it a really close call in the end. I really like this round and I love to see more of it happening. So for me, I'm gonna head into a little break from here. Do you have something to add, Yazuru?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, perfect. So we go in a small break here and gonna see you in some minutes again. See you, boys. hello and welcome with the little tease of our screen going black and then back, and but then in the end you can see what is happening right here. The unit screen already. CT is now pulling back and using what we saw last round, basically, them using the time advantage, which we talked about before. If you're really aware of what you're doing, you can invest in a lot of green units to get some time. And they saw it's really effectively being used from their side, so they're not now using a lot of units for their attack. What is your thought about it, Yazuru?
I think that is a disgusting amount of spear sergeants on the side of ZT. Oh my gosh. They're using a lot of green units as well, so I think they're going to end up doing some kind of int push through the gate to get them some space, or a good unit trade to get them onto the wall and take A, possibly. Or they could use a lot of those green Rattan marksmen to like try to, or not Rattan marksmen, Rattan pikemen to climb up the wall and get them some space and get the um PAE team to focus on that on the ladders instead of the gate or something of that nature. But it does look like they are going to play very aggressive. A lot of their members have 4 or 5 units total, so they're definitely bringing a lot more quantity into this match than last time. Um, and it looked like a lot of players from ZT only had 1 gold unit and 1 purple unit. So they're going to have to make good use of their leadership, or they're just going to be put at a disadvantage. As you can see at the top of your screen, ZT brought 1,800 unit models and PAE only brought 1,400.
1,800 unit models. That's 1,892. That's almost like some people being born there. My grandpa maybe being born
Okay,
there.
that's a reach there, buddy.
It's based on facts for sure, but like the amount, almost 2,000 unit models bringing to the battlefield here. That's if both teams doing the same strategy, they're gonna be like 4,000 unit models in total bringing to the battlefield, fighting it out for both teams. I expect CT to go very early for like a gate push there, just investing some unit models into them, just paying attention to the gate, or maybe even going for the good old wall rush with the Rattan Pikemen, which we talked about before, like we saw from Why So Serious and also Yeah Buddy using it. I don't know who come up with this idea. I'm pointing my finger at Dunkel again, but in the end we don't know because it happened in scrims before, and therefore maybe I don't know who came up with this idea, but usually I expect Dunkel to come up with his wooden spoon of magic and making some strategic advices for everybody to witness every CBL.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting to see here though, like ZT isn't using any of the hill spots for their culverins. And I think they could get a lot of value off of PAE right now. Like just from looking at your screen, I've already seen probably 3 or 4 pieces of Arty that they could have taken out from the side of PAE on the or the bottom side of your screen here. And PAE isn't playing super safe positioning for their Falcos either. So you could have taken a few shots at the Falcos with your culverins. You might not have killed a lot of models, but every model you kill is a slight advantage that you get, because Falcos are not accurate at this long of range. So, but we are seeing ZT climb some units. They get 3 heroes up on the wall. You can tell that they're probably going for artillery pieces, possibly gonna go try and kill the Falconettis that are up on the wall there. 1 to 2 heroes are already going for it, and we see the green shields just running through the bottom side of your screen, and we see that short sword get onto the Falcos here. The glaive is going to try his hardest to keep that short sword off, but the short sword is just going to be so tanky. I don't think the glaive will be able to kill him.
There's already his unit coming with him.
Yeah, that is insane. That this green shield unit was allowed to just run all the way over here, and if he is able to, he's going to take out the other Falco unit, but it does not look like he's going to be able to. The heroes from the side of PAE do stop him. Maybe they
Nope.
don't. They didn't
Nope.
stop him. Three
Can't stop
heroes are
him.
not able to stop one short sword, and now he's going to go kill the other Falco unit.
Make a clip out of it, chat. Make a clip out of it. Make some music behind it. Can't stop me now. Gonna be a great one.
Yep, the
He's
Falcos are
destroying
now
all the
dead.
Falcos there. God dang it.
both units of Falcos being down for PAE. Now there's 6 minutes left from ZT to just get onto the wall. It does look like ZT is already up on the wall, and they are going to take this 8 point. I think this is really bad for PAE.
Yeah, it's already CT's looking like they're gonna show their supremacy here, being like the look at me now, boys. We are adapting even in one round, seeing that you struggle with what we said before, struggling with the time investment and therefore not keeping up the things you should do. And CT already investing. The guy in the back is just a fucking legend, running there and being pushing there for the Falcos, going 2 sets there, and then also like fucking legend. He needs his own title, Destroyer of Falcos, Punisher of ball throwers, something like this.
Yeah, this is probably the one of the best plays we've seen on this map. And probably one of the worst misplays we've seen on this map from the entire tournament. It's like I don't want to like sound bad talking about like a finalist in this tournament or anything, but you kind of have to just play perfect on this map to do a tower denial. Any map with a tower denial, you have to play extremely on your toes because if one hero gets up on the wall and takes out your specialty, one, you're just diverting a bunch of heroes from the defense trying to defend their own specialty, and two, it just makes it to where the attackers have the advantage now. Like the entire strat for the rest of this map is now in favor of the attackers. They have 17 pieces of arty, they have 9 trebs, and they're just going to be pushing towards this supply, and they can just slowly walk arty up along this wall. PAE only has 5 pieces of artillery to try to stop 17 pieces.
You don't need to smooth talk it for the guys on the defending side there. Dishonor for his family. He needs to pull up his game. Where's your choke, old? You need to play this.
You can. How much caffeine have you had this morning, Bruder?
Nothing. That's like usually me. You need to see me last time. Oh, we're going into the engagement here already. Spear sergeants pushing down the stairs. Spear sergeants on the bottom of the stairs. Shenji's Yitos Delitos in a second. There it's coming. Pocket grenades. Throw. Destruction.
The Shenji, the Falco, and the Reapers are just wreaking havoc onto this line from PAE. They did not have a lot of heavy infantry going into this, but now we're seeing the Cav come in to kill some of these frontline units from ZT. But you got to remember, ZT still has 600 more units to use. Whether it's green or not, they're still doing a good job on killing enough of these units from PAE because PAE brought a lot of purples. So you keep taking out a lot of their shield units, then their heavy infantry are going to have no cover for anything. But ZT is covering the supply. It does look like they have some units left. It's not a lot of damaging units, it's just a lot of shields. They were also able to take B during this. So they won on 2 different sides of this engagement, which is also really bad for PAE. I think they should have brought out Cav a little bit sooner or baited them further off the wall, so that way you give more space for your heroes to get past the heavy infantry from ZT to jump onto their specialty units, because those Falcos and those Shenji were able to just free fire from the staircase, which should never be allowed.
Yeah, like CT is looking like a monster right now. They are running them down, bringing 1,800 units to the battlefield, just investing 300, and PHE already run through half of the units in general.
Yeah. So and this is the unit the map PAE picked. Like this is not going well for PAE. As they go in towards the end side of this match, they're down 700 units.
It's rough, boy. CT already looking strong here, not wasting that much time. They have 12 minutes on the clock, but already rotating to it, going for big gate there, like it by the looks of it, running through with every units. They have some units on the right being prepared for the flank again, so making it like a two-side engagement again. You can see it on the minimap. It's not shown by the overview function, but you can see some units being there
now, on the right side of the screen. This is something we haven't seen from the Western teams. Usually, when a team gets pushed back to home point, they take some engagements in that mini city that is right in front of home point. But PAE says, we're not going to just let you RDS out on the home point. We're going to try to engage you up here on this hill from the entrance of B. And now we see the Cav coming in. There's no anti-Cav on the side of ZT, so that Cav is getting some really good value. I hope they have some more units of Cav that can come in to help them out. But you got to remember, ZT also has quite a bit of Cav in their comp. They just haven't brought any yet.
Yeah, I think we saw it before from EU happening. I think Hero Focus was one of the teams defending here on this gate against another team or attacking. I don't remember if they're attacking or defending. I think but they were for sure involved in this. So we saw a fight like this happening before, but then still it's like a rough point here to fight because you really need to run through for the supply block there, and PAE is really pulling up ahead right here. But then still, if you're just going for the unit investments right here, CT is just needing to pull up new units, pushing in again, going for the straight trades right now, and not wasting hero lives and time, because based on their units being picked, they have double the amount of units right now, which they can easily use. The fire archers doing a lot of damage here. The camel is gonna be afraid of being barbecued alive, and therefore maybe needs to retreat. It looks like CT is already rotating to another side and maybe looking into another engagement angle there, picking up one flanker there. Another one is coming with his cavalry, but he's going to face the Modaos, and Modaos battalion is staying strong together, therefore you need to retreat there. Engagement there looking really, really strong for CT. Here they're pulling through with it. One guy needs to run for supply, guys. Or you're just going for blob fight? Okay, they're just going for blob fight. At this point, they're just looking into good investments of units there. Wiping a lot of units, models there again. Some Yan Yudao coming in, some charge cuff, but they're all being blocked by shield sergeants there. Not looking good for PAE here. They're losing left and right a lot of units. If you're investing even more units here, you could end up winning this already here. And they're just pulling another set of units, going one by one into the blob, which is not working out for them. It's not working out for anybody, because you don't go 1 versus 15. It's not helping you right now. You need to retreat and regroup, but they're just pulling.
PAE is just sending units in now. I think they know that they're at a severe disadvantage. 800 unit deficit going into this ZT. Just now getting to the halfway point of the amount of unit models they brought into this fight. This small engagement here might go in the favor of PAE, but in the end, I don't think it's going to matter, because ZT still has 800 more models that they can bring into the fight, as long as their heroes don't have 3 deaths.
PHE finds their way into going back to where they were before, but you need to look at the unit score again. Only 200 units being left. Now they're using their advantage for the first time of having more units right now, and therefore just pushing for the ground. But I expect CT to just move inside of the small gate there and run for the end cap, if they are aware of the situation. No, they're just pushing through with it. They're just pushing against it. Don't even try to... some people going for what I said, but major of them just going for the direct impact here, for the direct trade. Some people are trying to flank here. I think it's 2 players, but they're getting catched by another player. Therefore, we just see the same engagement happening here directly next to B. PHE, you don't have time for this. I think that's it. Hundreds units left for them. That is nothing. Most heroes dying now for the last time. And therefore, CT is now gonna get enough room to just pull through and win this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was still a good effort by PAE. In the last minute and a half, they've probably killed 500 unit models from the side of ZT, with only 300 unit models of their own. So a lot of that comes into the quality aspect of the amount of not so quality units brought by ZT, but it's enough, like all you have to do is go even with 2 to 3 engagements, and then you just have what, 700 800 more unit models to pick from going into the last portions of the game. And ZT was playing really well with their Madao. What a lot of teams don't do, they don't stick any other anti-cav unit inside the Madao. Madao have a short range, and they're still like not the best anti-cavalry unit right now. They're still kind of weak in the face of the Yanidao or other like fast-moving cav that kind of phase through them almost. So they stuck a halberdier unit inside the Madao unit, and it just destroyed the cavalry from PAE.
And now we're gonna see CT winning this round. Really well executed, all the trades being very, very well calculated, taking the time where necessary, putting up pressure when it's done and good, and then just pulling through with it, having a constantly an eye on their unit trades and their unit advantage they're bringing to the game here, and therefore just utilizing everything they brought. Going to the left side with CT 3014 are his stats with 145 unit models killed and a unit score of 1180 with 840 support points, which is a lot in general. 140 unit kills is always been like, oh, that's top tier, really well done, mate. Second place, 4 kills, 2 deaths, 11 assists, 115 unit kills, 960 unit score, 840 support points. They did the same in support points, which is great odd. Being point what it's directly the same. Third place being Xf. I love to pronounce the names a little bit wrong. Xf. 4 kills, 2 deaths, 15 assists, 114 unit kills, 1034 support unit score, and 755 support points. Going to the right side, Yazuru, you can take it from here.
Down the top of our defenders here from PAE, our top MVP went 0, 3, and 9 with 125 unit kills, just below 1100 troop kill score, and just below 1000 support points. As we go to ABU, he went 1, 3, and 3, 127 unit kills, 1100 troop kill score, 800 support points. And I believe this next guy got the most unit kills on his team with 168, going 3, 3, and 4, just over 1250 troop kill score, killing quite a bit of blue and green units, and just below 600 support points as we move to the post-battle analysis.
Me maybe mixing up the first engagement again. So first engagement, was where, Yazuru?
Yeah, I mean the first mini engagement we saw, it was probably on the wall, or just below the wall. But we did see that hero get up on the wall with his Rattan round shields and get to the back line of PAE and kill both units of Falcos, distracting 4 or 5 heroes from PAE in total. And then we see this massive unit trade, and the blue team, which was PAE, lost a lot of units on B point and supply. They were just massively at a disadvantage there. They lost both sides of the fights. They lost on B point and they lost on the supply point. I think they should have chose one of the things to fight for, which is usually supply point. Always go for a unit trade advantage in this part of the city, and then you can find somewhere else to fight from. But losing over 400 units total is not good on B point and supply point, especially with how many unit models ZT brought into this one, having basically 1900 unit models to choose from, and most of those being green units. But after that, we see kind of two engagements from PAE go in their favor. They do get 2 unit engagements where they are favored, but it's just not enough. Once you lose 400 units and you're only bringing 1400 unit models, all the other team has to do is trade somewhat even the rest of the fight. They could even trade at a negative of about like 200 unit models per engagement, and they'll just outlast you. As you can see on the hero kill board, PAE wasn't able to generate enough hero kills to start knocking some of these players out, so that way they can't bring all of their unit models, which is really good from ZT's side. You see a lot of their heroes play super aggressive, and then they back up immediately as soon as they're ready to go pull another unit. So they're keeping themselves relatively safe to the point where they can bring almost every unit model possible out of their unit comp, which is something we talked about at the beginning that some teams may struggle with doing. But ZT showing here that they do not struggle with it and they're not afraid to play it.
Yeah, like the supply push, which was like devastating for them, was mainly managed by the Falcos and Shenjis sitting there on the stairs unattended, so nobody jumped them. Just in the end, two players, I think, run for them, and therefore the Shenjis throw 2 times in one fight, and the Falcos constantly just rained down havoc on the enemy supply and all the units on the bottom of the stairs, therefore dealing a lot and a ton of damage from their side. That's a lot of damage, and therefore I think that was like the key thing there. Nobody running through for the special units was like a major setup or major failure by PHE to have nobody to run for this there. Okay, so that's it for the second match right now, right here. And I think we're gonna head again in a small break here, and we're gonna see each other again in a couple of minutes or seconds, depending on how fast they can set up the next round. See you, boys. Hello, my brothers. Welcome back to the
Oh
third
my god.
round of CT versus PAE. Going to the map Harbor City. CT being the attackers here, showing their dominance and their adaptiveness in every round. PAE right now is also pulling out a lot of green units and therefore going back to the I use 4 to 5 unit strategy. And we're gonna see like slow engagements with people not committing to it. But then we also see a lot of Ficus being picked here, field cannons, so they're gonna focus around turret destruction, and CT maybe being forced to go through small gate or going for the walls immediately in the beginning. Maybe pulling out the good old FICO Destroying 2.0 and therefore the second legendary title for the FICO Destroyer for CT. What do you think is gonna happen on this map right here, right now?
I think this one's going to be a bit more interesting, right? So this map, you have a couple of different things you can do. Like I've seen teams try to destroy the trebs on this map, like we saw Zodiacs do it when Return of the Cope on AMS side of finals. When Return of the Cope pushed in the side gate, Zodiacs was like, okay, you're going to try to trap us on the wall. That's fine. We're just going to destroy all your trebs instead of destroying the towers. So something like that could happen here. It'll probably just be a tower denial. I don't think. I think the Eastern teams play a lot more standard, and they just brute force their way of playing into your face. You know, like whereas on the Western side, there's a lot more innovation from like Yeah Buddy or Return of the Cope, Zodiacs, WSS. Like we've seen a lot different strats come from them. They have used some of the Eastern strats before and just brute forced it as well, but um, I think this one. I mean, it's go for broke for PAE. Like they have to do anything and everything in their power to win this one to keep the finals going on the Eastern side of things here. So I don't know. I really don't know what PAE is gonna do. Right now, it's just looking like a standard tower denial strategy, but we could see something very different later on.
Like I think the PAE is in a really tough point right now. If you're going for finals, your stress levels all being like maxed out, and then you're going to see them winning 2 times against you on your map you picked. Oh, the struggle, the moral right now is gonna be bottom low, and therefore the Warcaller needs to be hyping them up a lot, being like, let's go, boys. We're gonna have this somewhere. Maybe this round. Okay, I'm struggling too, but we are gonna make it. Maybe. And therefore, I think that's the major problem you always have with teams. You need to put up the effort, the fun again, because if people having fun and putting in the effort, they're gonna outdo themselves. Gonna be 110% of power. And if people struggling with their morale and be like, guys, I don't know if we're gonna make it to the next round, then you're only bringing 40% of your power by default. So therefore, always drink some coffee maybe or some black tea, depending on where you come from and what your liking is. If you're really hardcore, maybe drink some beverage, let's call it like this, and then you can maybe also go for it. But in the end, it's always on you to pull up every player internally, but then you have the shot caller to hype you up again. But every player needs to put up their game in their head and be 100% there and emotionally involved by happiness, not by being like, I don't gonna make it. That's not bringing you anywhere. You need to be, okay, guys, let's go. And everybody is gonna even get like a mood buff by you. So you are not even only a player, you also the support player of your team, providing the good old mood buff to everybody. 10% better playing.
So what we're seeing from PAE here, they're actually not using any more artillery. They're gonna let the towers land. It looks like they're gonna give a point, and they're probably gonna try to play around their cavalry that we see being pulled from that supply. We see, I think, 3 to 4 units of cavalry already pulled from the side of PAE. ZT already having a good counter for that, bringing the incendiary archers because the fire will stop the cavalry charge. So it's gonna be interesting to see if PAE can get around those incendiary archers or get a hero on top of them. But PAE also using camels as their anti-cap, so that's also a counter that ZT has in favor for themselves. Bringing those incendiary archers, the camels will get obliterated in like 0.5 seconds from those. So
yeah, gonna be a tough one. And already here retreating. CT gonna have a lot of traps and artillery left to use, and we're gonna see maybe mortal combat or mortar combat. I even mispronounced my own meme. That's fucked up. So they're gonna go for mortar combat here again, I guess. Them just pulling them back from supply here, giving up the supply. I can already see my good old Kevin on the bottom of the stairs there. And that's a name which is like sticking out to me. Him having like big letters. And then
there's two
all
Kevins. Oh no,
two
that's just his
Kevins.
unit. No, that's just his
No, it's
unit.
his
My bad.
unit.
Yeah.
Kevin is multiplying himself.
Hey, do what you got to do to win the game, I guess.
Yeah. Just find another Kevin to pull through. No problem.
All right,
So
now we're.
that's yeah.
Ooh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I said before. We're gonna just witness some mortar combat happening here, pushing PAE maybe in retreating from the first supply to the next hallway or the another like alleyway there. So it's not that much to witness right here, just some fireballs being fired from left to the side. From left to the side, from left to the right. Losing my words here again. And therefore, it's not that much we can talk about, but there we already see like a big thingy going up all the way in the back. A lot of cavalry being there. Run, boy, run! You need to... you're getting catched. Oh, you're getting slowed by the... Oh, poor guy. I hope he has some insurance. There's some guy, CC Cheng, we already know him. All the way in the back, also being run through, also investing his life for this. I hope PHE is having a lot of insurance for their players because they're getting picked left and right. Already some cavalry running all the way in the back, I guess, for the end cap there. And therefore they need to retreat also. But if they're going too fast with their heroes, they're gonna just invest in another hero life there. Good charge from the Yan Yudao there.
What a play from ZT. And they engage the other side too, right on the supply. So PAE has to split their forces the correct way, or they're just going to lose the home point here. I think too many people from PAE are not focused on the home point, and I don't know. This is going to be a tough one to see which side is going to win. This is like a grasslands right now. We have engagements going on two different sides of the map here. ZT looking like they're not really winning this supply push. Let's take a look at the home point once again and see what's going on there.
They're doing fine. They're already wiped
Yep.
it.
All right, good. That's good then. PAE, nice rotation. I thought that might have been a quick end to things. It does look like ZT actually did win this frontal engagement, so they have some space on the ground The respawners are now coming through the gate. They're going to try to get to this supply as ZT is just dancing on the supply right now, being very sure that PAE cannot pull any units from this bottom side of the map. But PAE is bringing cavalry down, so this could swap back into the favor of them if they're able to play around the cavalry. But I think they're just going to take the small unit advantage and just go back to their home point.
I think there was already too many people from PAE being in the back there. If they pulled through with a better trade for the supply there, they could have ending this fight really good for their position, because a lot of heroes from ZT were stuck there with no units in general. So
I think
maybe
2 more units from PAE might get caught here if they're not careful.
classic. It's going to be 3 units in total if they're not pulling up there, because CT is just pushing for it. They're being like just pushy around everything. Oh, the arty commitment, guys. Look at it. This is how your TW should look like. Everybody touching grass and therefore just placing down every piece of artillery. Some spear
Oh,
sergeants
the
already
Hussar's charge
covering
is
the
going to
back.
be big.
Hussar charge going all the way through there. Yikes. Back is also covered by some sergeants, 2 sets of sergeants. Their main push is looking very awesome. One guy with the short sword already running for the special units there in the back. CT is looking so strong here. They're doing really, really well. I don't know if anybody here can stop them. They're looking so strong and well organized on every side. One guy all the way in the back blocking the supply with his big shields. There you can see like hundreds of heroes being stuck there. They now can pull. No, they're still stuck there. And so for the end cap, it's already just one dual blade running for his life. He's getting unalived. And therefore, they even now can't pick any new units from the supply.
This
Or
is
can they?
it.
No, they did.
That is it.
Already win.
What
What
a
the hell?
tempo, what a very tempo based match from ZT there. They dictated every engagement. And then they just snowballed after they took the supply. They did not let PAE go back and pull units and get set up anywhere. They just W keyed it all the way to the home point, put down a bunch of arty, which forced PAE to engage, or they would have just been artied off of the home point, and PAE was still not fully together yet. They were just going in one at a time. It was a long conga line of units. But as we jump into this team stats page on the side of ZT, their MVP going 1-0-7 with 85 unit kills, 831 troop kill score, and 175 support points. As we move down towards the next person, going 2-0-4, 64 unit kills, just below 600 troop kill score, and just above 400 support points. As I hand it over to Bruder for the PAE side of things.
Yeah, East side is looking also not that bad. One guy on top being with 3 hero kills, 1 death, 2 assists, 84 unit kills, and 723 unit points, and 69 support points. Fucking legend. He did this on purpose, I guess. PHE second place, 1 kill, 1 death, 71 unit kills, 695 unit score, 341 support points. In general, if this would be my rank, he would be MVP. Classic. We all know it. It happened to everybody of us. So please change it. Third place, the good old Abu. I can read this name. Perfect. 111, 55 unit kills, 542 unit score, 329 support points. Well done, Abu. In general, I think CT just showed what kind of monsters they are. They really dominated after the first round. Yeah, Kevin being on the bottom there. Yeah, Kevin, dishonor for you. I saw you do better in the beginning and all the matches before. Maybe, but this is maybe an indicator for a bad round for PAE. Every time Kevin is on the bottom, you're losing. Maybe need to push Kevin more in the front lines. Kevin, good guy. All the way in the bottom, I think the name I can't pronounce even. It's Gwen, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, chat can tell me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but I think it's Gwen all the way in the bottom. Therefore, heading into post-battle analysis, and therefore Yasuru, maybe you can tell us which fights happening where and what happened with your memory, and show it what your 5-head can come up with what happened in this match.
Yeah, so while ZT did lose the first engagement in the unit count, they were able to gain more space into the city and getting that supply point, not letting PAE use whatever strategy that they wanted to. Uh, ZT pushing about 5 or 6 units a cav towards that top supply point, and then immediately going towards the home point to generate a lot of pressure and just a really well organized split push that they had there. They didn't win the match off of it from ticking home point, but it was an integral play that inevitably won them the match because they were able to take the supply point. As soon as they took that supply point, it was just a snowball effect. They just W keyed all the way to the home point, killing over 400 units from PAE in a very quick fashion. And then they had a what looked like an ISG unit on the supply point with, I believe, was a short sword, and he just lived for way too long on that supply point. So it was a very fast match comparatively to what we've seen for Harbor City matches. I think PAE played a little bit too passive going towards the home point. A lot of their players didn't know where to go. 3 people got caught out on the edge of that wall as you turn the corner to the home point on that last engagement, which means they were down 3 units from the start going into that engagement, which is pretty big. You know, you go down 3 full units, one of them being a Zweihander unit, and then some of your anti-cav and the camels. You're just at a disadvantage once again. So they were able to get 7 hero kills, only 10 more hero kills on the side of ZT. So the hero kill aspect wasn't the worst thing in this match. I think it was just ZT playing tempo and PAE not being able to keep up.
Yeah, in general, CT just showed how much they can control and puppeteer the battlefield in general. With them adapting from in the beginning what we talked or what I talked about with the 3, just using 3 units, then going back to the 5 units, 4 units being used, PAE taking 1 round longer to adapt to this meta shift, but then CT just whipped out their big long sword and just showed them where to go. Them just pushing all the time, every engagement being executed like nearly perfectly, I would say. In my opinion, just let's count it like this, and therefore going for the flank on the left side with all the cavalry, catching 2 people there, then rotating to end cap while they are pushing on right side to play, really did so amazing things for them, and therefore also PAE was really struggling on knowing where to set now their new defense or if they should pull back on the supply, giving a lot of room also and a lot not room but pressure on the enemy shot caller to decide what to do now while keeping up the pressure by themselves, they themselves created by CT, and therefore we often find PHE making like mistakes in my opinion, just but it's like the result of CT just putting so much pressure into you or the opponent, therefore you struggling with overseeing what is really happening. It's like a really common strategy also in TW where people place like towers and shit on the map to just give the enemy team to digest what they're seeing on the map. So just happening a lot of things on different areas and a lot of things happening at the same time. Therefore, you being like overloaded with all the information and things happening. Therefore, you're making small mistakes that result in bigger mistakes just by everything happening and the enemy providing for you to see and get informations from. And I think this is like really, really well used by CT right now. This is like their major strategy, overwhelming the opponent with informations and inputs and strategies. Therefore, really, really well executed. And I really loved what they did today. In my opinion, it's a little bit sad to see them win 3-0 because every time, if it's like a little bit closer, first match was looking so close. Therefore, my hope was up for seeing this like happening, going to grasslands maybe for the finals because it's finals. I always want to see like grasslands happening in the end. What could be better than a final being very close and very being like so close to the end, being like a second finish on grassland would be epic. but didn't happen here. CT didn't give us the opportunity of good long casting here, so also shame on them, which is okay.
ZT made a small adjustment after the first match. We saw and we talked about how teams were kind of reverting back to just playing a lot of quality units, so playing like double gold or playing double purple and a gold, something of that nature. Um ZT won the first match. They had about 200 units left, and that, I mean, no, PAE had about 200 units left, but ZT was able to just touch the points with seconds remaining in the match. And then after that, ZT just brought the full house of units. They brought everything. They brought like gold, purple, green, blue. They brought everything. I mean, as we saw in that second match, they brought 1900 unit models. So that small adjustment just pushed them super far ahead of PAE. And then once PAE finally made like the full adjustment of playing a lot of those same units, ZT said, okay, we're just going to play tempo now and throw you even more off your game. So, I mean, just like what you said, I mean, ZT was just generating the mistakes from PAE. They were just playing fast, they were playing collected. Their hero play was really good. They were just outclassing PAE quite a bit after that first match. And, I mean, kudos to PAE for making it super close in the first match and whatnot, but um, just a little bit faster play there, and I think they would have been able to take the B point and the match because ZT was just out of units. So overall, though, I mean, it was still fun to watch. This was still a good series, and I'm gonna be interested to see what happens at the interregional, or not interregional, but the international side of things. From when the Western teams play this Sunday, we'll know what the matchups will be after that. But
yeah, I think Dunkel will be, if he's seeing what happened here today, I think he maybe witnessed it already live. He will be grinding his hands, his palms right now and be like, okay, boy, I hope you'll be ready to get your good old spanking from the West. So he's preparing already in his mind, and I also his team. I hope an American team is also making it to it right now. I think it's not looking so good for the American teams right now, just based on what I witnessed and what I saw. But then in the end, I hope for them to make one place, just to make it like an American and Europe joint adventure to face the East or the Eastern teams, and therefore just looking into what will happen there. But I'm really excited to see like the top teams from both sides fight it out in the end. They maybe need to face like a higher ping, which is like really sad. But then in the end, it's about us maybe clipping the East and showing off what the West is capable of. And therefore, I'm really interested into witnessing every match which will happen. Also, Sunday, we're going to see Western Championship already, Europe against America, or American teams against European teams. Some people playing a little bit mixed. So some Americans playing for Europe teams and Europe teams playing for American teams, which I find personally total fine, because then it's about people finding the best players they want to play with or the best teams, and it's not just based on regions and where you're living or where you'll be born. This is like kind of sad. And Booming Tech, or not Booming Tech, but Conqueror's Blade in general, is all about diversity and diverse culture, and therefore I love the mix of it. You can see it on the battlefield, you can see it in the teams, and that's all around it for me. It's also the end for it today from my side, because we have a 3-0 here, so they already won their best of 5. Going back to the topic, I wish all of you like a really good weekend. I hope all of you get the best luck in your ranked lobbies. Nobody trolling, nobody fouling, nobody screaming. Just some good shot caller being inside there, telling you what to do so you can lean back, enjoy your team, hearing to what he's saying, everybody listening, being open-minded about it, and you just taking win and victory after victory. So that's from me, everything from my side as Bruder Ritter. Yajuzu, do you have something to tell to the viewers in the end?
hey, just have a good weekend. Don't drink and drive. There you go.
Don't drink and drive, guys. You hear it here first. See you, boys.